Our agenda for Team Plan today is looking at student work. Ashley, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you've brought for us today to look at?
Okay, over winter break, as I'm sure all of us were grading our extended responses, I noticed that my 7th graders were really struggling with their explanations. So I made a couple copies for you. I'm mostly looking for feedback on how you get your kids to write their explanations and not forget any steps. One of the things that I noticed when I looked at my results compared to the entire schools is that I don't have any kids getting zeros right now, which is good because last quarter I know that I had a couple zeros, so I've eliminated those zeros and I have improved on advanced and proficient. And I think that my class data fairly closely resembles the data of the entire school, which I'm happy about. The area of weakness that I would really like to improve is you can see that huge chunk of basic kids. They are doing something, but just not enough at all. So I was hoping that you guys could help me come up with some ways to move all of those kids that are at basic up to either proficient or advanced.
I just tell them to put their work in a box or a large spot at the top of the paper and just show all of their work, be very clear about it. And then I have them list the what and the why, and I number them. When they're all done with this, I have them circle the answer too when they're down. And I remind them to label it too, but this poster is up in the room so they can just see if they can set up this way and have it all in front of them. They know it's sort of like a mini checklist themselves.
So John, do you find that setup works with all of your extended responses?
They have a plan to follow like this. Yes, I think it's a lot better.
I noticed that whatever you guys are setting up in your classrooms with the work, the what and the why, it seemed to work a little bit better. And that was reinforced when Jenny left the descriptive feedback and she came into my classroom and we talked about the problem over and over and we went through the steps of the what and the why. And the students that did that, it seemed that it worked out a lot better. And the students that kind of made up their own plan, the descriptive feedback, there were more comments on those pages.
Have you ever done it like with peer review, where the kids actually write everything out and then they get the rubric and they get to share with each other? And so they question themselves?
Has anyone
is that
done
a
that?
technique that anybody's used?
Okay.
So they could grade it, and then we could grade it, and then they could see how close they came, or how much.
You could do that too. That's a great idea.
All right, I've got numbering the whats and the whys, so they'll match up. Again, important information, circling, underlining, highlighting. Make sure we got my answer is. Letting the students see a novice and an advanced paper. Give written descriptive feedback. Conferencing with the student. Modifying the student rubric so we have a checklist and more student friendly. Using a graphic organizer and setting up peer review.
Bridget, the student rubric, I think that would be good for all 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, our special ed students also. So that might be something. Would you mind if you and I kind of got together and we could try to come up with a checklist and make that before next week? I also really, really like the idea of peer review. Paul, I know we didn't talk a whole lot about that, but the way I have my classroom set up in tables, students are all paired or in groups of 3. It might be more meaningful if one of their classmates grade them other than just myself. They might take it more seriously. And the other one is the descriptive feedback. And I am not in the assessment for learning group, so I'm very interested in learning more about the descriptive feedback. And it sounds like it did a lot for Allison and Chet's group, so I might actually, since I haven't handed these back yet, take those home and actually try to add some feedback on all their papers before I give them to them. I liked everybody's ideas, but those I think would be very easily attainable for me to do within the next couple days, so I really appreciate it.
Well, Ashley, you said I'm scheduled to come in your room next week. So before I do, maybe you can get the descriptive feedback on their papers. I will get a novice and an exemplar paper from someone else's room, okay? And make a copy, names not included. And then using what you guys are going to come up with for a student rubric, maybe we can have the kids look at those papers, evaluate them, and also then hand their papers back and let them use the rubric to evaluate their own.
Ashley, I look forward to coming back in here, invite me back to your team meeting when you're, can give us some feedback on how this went in the classroom.
Yeah.
I'll be anxious to hear how it went.
Well, I'll be sure to let everybody know how it goes. I think we'll probably do that Wednesday, so
Okay.
hopefully
I'll put it on my calendar.
we can get all of that done before then.